Welcome back to the Quick Focus Blueprint program, and I am really excited about this lesson with you today, and I hope you are too. And the reason why I am excited is because the topic we're going to cover today is one of the most requested of this program. And when I was going through the reasons why you joined the program and the things that you wanted to learn, this was voted up as one of the most important topics because I think it's a challenge that a lot of people deal with. And that is, Jim, how do I focus and concentrate better while I'm reading? And I know some of you are like, yes, I've been waiting for this, because you have blogs and you have articles and you have newspapers and magazines and books on your shelf, and you're just wondering, Jim, I read something, but my mind wanders. And is that you? Have you ever gotten to the end of a page of a book and just forgot what you just read because your mind is so distracted, and you go back and you reread it and you still don't know what you just read because you're not present? And so in this lesson, I'm going to give you a primer on a really quick tip on how to maintain and keep your focus, sustain it while you read. And we will continue this with a soft skill in the next lesson on terms of how do you maintain your focus with regards to comprehension. So this will have to do with your attention, your concentration while you read. We'll cover a little bit on the area of speed. And if you have graduated our quick reading online program, this is going to be more of a review. And remember that when you want to really get good at something, you want to really reinforce and review the basics and the fundamentals. And that's really one of the key principles of quick learning, is really mastering the fundamentals, the basics, the principles. And then we could get into all the fancy things, but it always comes back to the fundamentals. And so let's go through this. And if you've heard me talk about this before, listen with new ears. Remember, maintain your focus, ask questions, post comments also as well, and we'll make this happen. Now, if you happen to have a book with you, that would be a good thing to have. It's not required, but if you happen to have a book in your area and you could concentrate and really be here, I ask that a lot of times that when you're doing this program with me, that you're single focused on this. Now, so you have a lot to read, and we know that leaders are what? They're readers. And it's amazing. I love books because if somebody has decades of experience in a topic and you could sit down in a few days and read that book, how amazing is that? You could literally download decades into days. And that's a very exciting concept for me. And that's what reading allows you to be able to do. Now, the challenge is a lot of people, they haven't taken a class on reading in quite a while. And we know that reading is a skill. And it's a skill that can be improved, and yet we were probably how old when last time we took a reading class? We were probably like 6 or 7 years old. And the challenge is a lot of us still read the same way. And that's one of the reasons why we read so slowly, why we don't understand quite as much, and why we never learned proper focus. So how do you overcome that? Well, big issue when it comes to focus is this. A lot of people believe if they read faster, like efficient at it, they wouldn't understand quite as much. And it's actually not completely true. And we train with our quick reading. It's kwikreading.com for those of you who want to join that program. Is that we know that the faster you read, you actually can boost your comprehension. And I'm not talking about skimming or scanning or skipping words. I'm talking about reading every single word and still having better comprehension. And the reason why, when properly trained, faster readers have better comprehension is because they have better focus. Let me add this, that you know that there's an upward limit, right? Just like if somebody's at the gym and they work out all the time and they get bench press a lot of weight, eventually there's an upward human limit. Like you can't bench press a car, and I don't want to install any limiting beliefs, but that's probably generally accepted where we are right now. And with reading, same thing. The average person reads about 200 words per minute, 250 words per minute. And we traditionally double or triple people's reading speed in our programs, and it really varies depending on what people are reading. Because when they're reading easy, light fiction, obviously they can read it faster than something that's more highly technical. So really trained readers have the ability to speed up and slow down when they need to, but they have that option as opposed to people who are not properly trained in reading read everything the same pace, if that makes sense. It's kind of like playing golf and playing with one club the entire time. That wouldn't probably be very effective, but that's what most people do when they read because they don't have options or flexibility or proper training. Now, you're probably thinking, Jim, how does that work? Why, by boosting my reading speed, actually improves my comprehension? And I'll give you an idea about that. Is when you read, you feed this incredible supercomputer, this quick brain of yours, one word at a time. Metaphorically, you're starving your mind. And if you don't give your brain the stimulus it needs, it'll seek entertainment elsewhere. How? In the form of distraction. Now, I want to say that again because I really want this to hit home. The key to better comprehension is better focus. And the key to better focus is higher levels of speed, because this is how it works. If you don't give your brain the stimulus it needs, that's why your mind wanders. That's why your mind gets easily distracted, because it's not getting enough. So contrary to the general belief, when you read faster, it actually could boost your comprehension because it boosts your focus. By going faster up to a point, because you have to train and you condition, that's what we do in the programs that we have. You have to train and condition at higher levels to be able to accept that information faster. But once you're properly trained, you could read and actually have better comprehension because you have better focus. Because you're focused completely on what's in front of you, just like as if you were driving a car really fast. And so how do you get to greater levels of speed? I'm going to give you one quick brain tip. And what it is using a visual pacer. And if you've seen any of my videos, you know I've mentioned that before. If you've listened to me on podcasts, I'll mention it as a brain hack. The question is, are you doing it? Now, what does it mean to use a visual pacer? I mean that when you're reading, you're underlining the words with your finger, with a pencil, with a highlighter, with a pen. You're not touching the page or the digital device. You're just going right above it. So you're not really underlining with markers or anything else. You're just using it as a visual pacer for your eyes. The challenge is your focus could go anywhere in your peripheral vision, right? What's around you. But when your finger is underlining the words, for example, your attention is being pulled through the information as opposed to your attention being pulled apart. Because here's why. First of all, you want to use your finger or a pencil highlighter, some kind of visual pacer, a mouse on a computer, something to attract your attention. Because number one, it's interesting. Your eyes are attracted to motion. If you're a hunter and gatherer, it was your survival. That if you're in a bush and you see, let's say you're hunting lunch, right? You're hunting a rabbit or a carrot, depending on what your diet is, and you see the bush next to you move, you have to look at what moves in your environment, because number one, it could be lunch, or number two, you could be lunch. So you have to look. And so when you're underlining the words with your finger, your eyes are attracted to the motion and the movement, and so you have better focus. The other reason why you want to use your finger is it's kind of interesting that children do it naturally. Until we teach them differently, all children will use their finger to help them have a focal point while they read until we change that. And I want you to do this as your homework, is to read, set your timer to go in 60 seconds. And what I want you to do is to read how you normally read for 60 seconds. And then when you're done, put a mark in the margin where you left off. And then count the number of lines that you just read in 1 minute, right? That makes sense. And that's your lines per minute. And then what I want you to do is do a second trial where you just pick up where you left off and underline the words using your finger, time yourself for 60 seconds, and at the end, count the number of lines you just read. And what most people will find is that second time using a visual pacer, their reading rate will boost 25 or 50%. Some people will maybe even double their reading speed because it overcomes this thing called regression. This phenomenon called regression or backskipping, where a lot of people have this bad habit when they read of going back and rereading words over again. And most of the time when they do it, it's unconscious. And that's the challenge. You're unconscious about it and you're wasting time going back and rereading words, and it's not helping your comprehension. It's actually breaking it up. And that's a big challenge. And so what I would offer you is this, is use your finger while you read and test it. Take your book that you have and practice underlining the words with your finger, going back and forth, and practice your eyes following your finger. And in the beginning, you don't even have to really comprehend it as much. Just get used to this exercise of following your finger through the pages. And after you practice that for a handful of minutes, time yourself. And that will be your second trial. Time yourself for 1 minute and then count the number of lines you just read. And I think for most people, they will make an improvement. And not only improvement in speed, a lot of people will start reporting it after they get used to following their finger while they read, because you can't be trying to do that and comprehending at the same time and talking to yourself, am I really doing this right, and everything else like that. Just read for 60 seconds. And when you're done, what I'd like you to do is put down below in the comments your beginning base rate and your ending base rate. Your beginning base rate, in terms of how many lines you read in 1 minute, and then after using your finger while you read, what is it after that? And I would love to see the before and afters. Do that, and it'll improve your focus. Your eyes won't wander off in the distance and off into other things. And then you could control that pacer. You could slowly speed it up or slow it down depending on how well you're understanding. The best part about it is you carry your fingers with you all the time. So you have this incredible quick focus tool with you at all times. And so practice that, and then put the comments down below. Let me know how you feel. Remember, it probably feels a little bit different because if you haven't done it before, just like tying your shoes or typing or anything you haven't learned before, but with a little bit of practice, you could go a long way. And so tomorrow what we're going to do is I'm going to give you tips on how to improve your focus by changing your questions that you use to comprehend. So I'll see you tomorrow.